Oh no, dude. In 2013, Hell's Angels are like, yeah, there's a their gender pronouns are they them, okay? And their domestic partner. We caught and we kidnapped their domestic partner and we murdered them.
Family, I need it. I don't want to do this, but you still don't give me another choice. They're still telling me that I have to meet them, and I don't know what will happen. I can't let that happen. Even if they say it's okay, I know they will do the same thing to me. They say everything is okay, but I know what they will do. 63 hours, please, don't force me to post everything. 500K is nothing to you, but it's life and death for me. They told me I have a free pass and that they dealt with it with Zin, but I know that they are doing that to make me think it's okay, and then they're gonna get me. That's how these people operate. At 10:47 p.m., he would respond to Friendly Chemist once more and say, do me a favor, make it 96 hours. I will get back to you on Monday. I want to work this out, but I have big plans for this weekend and I don't want to have to deal with this.
What? Hey, I got big plans for this weekend, okay? Me and my Asian wife are gonna go out and celebrate.
March 29th.
You know, because he's a libertarian guy with an Asian wife, I assume.
Hello again, Red and White. I hate to come with you with a problem when we were just starting to get to know one another, but Blake, Friendly Chemist, is causing me problems. Are you still looking for him, or now, or have you found Zin? Have you given up? I'd like to put a bounty on his head, if it's not too much trouble for you. What would be an adequate amount to motivate you to find him?
Oh.
Necessities like this do happen from time to time for a person in my position. I have others I can turn to, but it's always good to have options, and you are close to the case right now. Hopefully this is something you are open to and can be another aspect of our business relationship.
Oh my God, this motherfucker went from like, you know, I run the Silk Road to like, hey, you want to do murders for me? Mass drug distributor? Like, how the fuck? This happened over the span of like 2 months.
Regards, Dread Pirate Roberts. March 30th, 12:42 a.m. Red and White writes to DPR. What is the problem? We usually tend to stay away from hits as they're bad for business and bring a lot of heat. Is it a problem that can be resolved, or does he really need to be...
Motherfucker, wait, what do you mean we stay away from hits? You literally kidnapped the business partner. The Zin. Oh God. Monka. The Zin. Gifted 5 tier 1 gift subs. He's here, the business partner.
Dealt with sternly. As of right now, we don't care about him because we retrieved more money from Zin than what he took from us. And he also paid for it with his life. Debt paid in our books. As far as rates go, we don't have a flat rate for things like that. It's on a case-by-case basis. Usually we pay our hitters a percentage of what the person owes, plus or minus how much they can retrieve. If it's strictly a hit because they don't want the person around anymore, it's also different. Does he owe you money, or do you just not want him around anymore? I can send a couple of my guys to do recon to find out exactly where he is right now. In the meantime, I'll wait until I hear back from you. At 1:55 a.m., DPR writes back, if you can find his location, that may be enough for me to scare him off. He's been trying to blackmail me. Just let me know what you need to make it worth your while. 3:31 a.m. that same night, Red and White writes, if I find his location and you use it against him to scare him, there's a chance he will switch locations again. Speaking from experience, it will be a lot more difficult to find him again after.
Okay, this is FBI. %100%. They're trying to get him to admit that he wants to do a fucking hit. This is like straight up FBI shit, okay? This is straight up FBI behavior to be like, oh yeah, you know, it wouldn't just be great to blackmail him. You should definitely fucking murder him and we will do it for you. Just kidding. Like, they didn't want to fucking give him, they didn't want to give him too much at first. They wanted to push him back. I mean, we already saw this with Dahlia Dipolito. It's the same shit.
After that, once he knows there are people capable of finding him. Further, the people we use to do recon are the hitter themselves. I don't think they'd be interested in continuing to look for him if there was a small sum to be split between them just to find his address. If you have your mind just set on finding his location, I can talk to them and get them to get it to you for a fee. Not sure what amount, as usually we hunt someone. There's more involved after we find them. If you want the deal with him the other way, we can talk about that too, but the price varies in the situation. If you want it to look like an accident, that's going to cost a lot more. It wouldn't be suspicious. He would just leave home one day and not return. If you don't care what it looks like, it would be cheaper than the accident. We use professionals and not street-level hoodlums who always end up effing things up. How much does he owe you, and how much are you willing to pay?
Dude, what the fuck, dude? Street-level hoodlums. Dude, no shot, dude. Who the fuck would... First of all, he's writing so professionally. And who the fuck says street-level hoodlums? First of all, I feel like an actual Hell's Angels dude would just say the N-word, okay? Like, they wouldn't write street-level hoodlums. Not only is this like, you know, they're like racist fucking biker guys, okay? Like, no one would literally say street-level hoodlums unless they have, like, a liberal arts education from Yale and are portraying themselves as, like, a Hell's Angel or some shit. They would literally just... They're on the internet. It's 2013. Even fucking non-Hells Angels are saying the N-word liberally. Like, no shot. Anyway,
Hey,
let's keep
if there
going.
are funds retrieved, how much will we keep from what he has when we get him, if he has anything? In response to this, DPR writes, he doesn't owe me anything, but he's threatening to expose the identities of thousands of my clients that he was able to acquire by working with Zin if I don't pay him off. As you don't take kindly to thieves, this kind of behavior is unforgivable to me, especially here on Silk Road. Anonymity is sacrosanct. It doesn't have to be clean, and I don't think there are any funds to be retrieved. Red and White gets back to him and says, price for clean is 300k USD, price for non-clean 150k to 200k, depending on how you want it done. These prices pay for 2 professional hitters, including their travel expenses and the work they put in. We can use our out-of-town hitters if you want as well, but I would not suggest...
Non-clean? What the fuck? Is it really that expensive for an assassination? I fucking doubt it, dude. No shot. $300,000 to fucking assassinate someone? What is this? The American government, dude? Like, literally. Yeah, Dahlia Dippolito's out here getting fucking hits on her husband for like $3,000. That's crazy. These prices pay for 2 professional hitters, including their travel expenses. What are they, staying at the fucking Ritz-Carlton while they're doing the hit? Their travel expenses. Sorry, my fucking murderous assassins. Hell's Angels, the 521 gift. Oh god, they're in here, dude. Okay, I'm so sorry. Mr. Angels. Mr. Angels, I'm so sorry. I was kidding. I respect your initiative, and I'm so sorry that I undermined you guys and said that you don't know, like, encrypting your messages. We were just kidding. I think this is covering for the hitter's expense in case they get caught. It's what happens for clean hits here in Brazil. Hustle. That is a very strange thing to tag hustle with. What the fuck, dude? What, are you a Brazilian murderer? Why do you know that? That's the least bloodthirsty Brazilian. That's the least involved with murder Brazilian. No, it's not. It was around 25k to 50k on Silk Road at that time. Why do you know that? Shut up. Okay.
Suggest them because they come with an extra cost and you don't seem to care about how he's taken care of. When would you like this done? On March 31st, 2013 at 8:59 p.m., DPR writes, don't want to be a pain here, but the prices seem high. Not long ago, I had a clean hit done for 80k. Are the prices you quoted the best you can do? I'd like this done ASAP.
Wait, what? Okay, no, he didn't. He's just like lying to them. I had a clean hit done for 80k. Then why don't you use that guy? What motherfucker? What is this? What? Also, even that's fucking way too much money. I don't believe that. He's literally haggling.
as he's talking about releasing the info on Monday. Now, what's interesting here is that 80K he's referencing for another hit is actually true. For that hit, however, that was set up by the FBI, and they essentially got one of the admins of the site to middleman a deal, and in his cooperation with the FBI, they faked his own death and torture and sent the photos back to Dread Pirate Roberts or Ross. Getting back to the messages, however, we can go back to...
Okay, okay, dude. The FBI is just fucking with them now. They're like, yeah, that was the last hit, brother. Yeah, we don't do price matching. It's 300K now. Like, they're just literally fucking with him. It's all feds. Which, by the way, yeah, like, of course. If you're talking to a hitman on the internet, you are talking to an FBI agent.
What Red and White has to say. I'm sorry, we can't do that for that price. The best I can do is 150, and even that is pushing it. Since you need a rush job done, usually we would charge even more. In the interest of the business relationship to be, I could do...
Yeah, why is he buckling? A real fucking Hell's Angel, if it's such an organized operation, would never just like, oh yeah, I'll do a rush job for you for 150. You'd be like, fuck off. Go do the 80K guy then. No, this seems like they're trying to establish this dude is like down to do it.
150, no lower. If 150 does not work for you, we're gonna have to pass. We use professionals and we pay them a good price. Always send them out in a team of 2 plus.
Yo, the Hells Angels is like, yo, our killers are unionized, so you know we're using domestic labor. Okay, none of that fucking cheap Chinese product. So you know who you're talking to, my friend. These guys got a fucking 401k. They got a fat benefits package that they negotiated for. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, dude, what the fuck? They got a dental plan.
Plus 75K each for expenses, and the job is a fair amount, I think. We have one of his associates, and we're paying him to set him up for us. We'll pay that ourselves on our end. I'm guessing you're not gonna be able to pay cash, so how would your payment work since you need it done before Monday?
Dude, yeah, this is bullshit.
A couple hours later, Red and White follows up again and says, if you want it done by Monday, that only leaves today. It's Sunday morning here. We always seem to miss each other online, so I will leave.
Dude, he's getting horny. Dude, they're getting horny. They like really wanted to do it. He needs to back out of it.
A Bitcoin address in case you want to pay that way. Probably the best so we can get used to dealing with Bitcoins anyways, since we will be selling here more than likely in the next week or two. I will check the computer in about 10 hours, and if I see that you want to go ahead with this and the payment has been sent, we'll go ahead and do it today. Here's the Bitcoin wallet address. If you want picture confirmation of the job afterwards, give me random numbers and I will have them write them beside him and take a picture for you. DPR then gets back to him a few hours later and says, thank you, Red and White. I've only ever commissioned one other hit, so I'm learning this market. I have no problem putting my faith in you, and I'm sure you'll do a good job. The exchange rate is about above 90 right now, so $90 of Bitcoin, so $150,000 USD is gonna go 1,670 Bitcoin.
Bro, it was $90. Now it's like, what, 30,000 or something? That's crazy. Wait, how much is Bitcoin now? $40K, dude. That's nuts, dude. 40,000. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Coin. If the market tanks in the next few days, I will send more. Here are some random numbers for the picture. Here is the transaction number for 1670 Bitcoin to this Bitcoin wallet address. Good luck.
That's a $67 million hit, boys.
And be safe. If you look up this Bitcoin transaction, it was sent on this exact same day, right around this time. If you use a wallet explorer, you can actually trace back the Bitcoins to a wallet that's labeled Silk Road. So this is impossible to fake, and under these circumstances, he did send this money. But there's a lot more to this, so sit tight. March 1st, 2013, 10:06 p.m. Your problem has been taken care of. They seized a bunch of stuff he had with him at the time as well. They said he had a couple laptops and a bunch of USB sticks. Is there any of that belongs to you? They questioned him and he spilled everything he knew. He said that he and Zin were actually working together on this scheme to blackmail you, and that they were brought in by a third guy who was selling on here for a couple years, who is a scam artist. Apparently he makes selling accounts, sells for a while, then pulls a big scam, and he just keeps on creating new accounts after he does his scams. They got that guy's name also. I will give you that free of charge when I meet them to get the picture and computer hardware they got. Rest easy though, because he won't be blackmailing anyone again. Ever. Now at this point, if you can guess who that third person is, you're going to start to put everything together in your head. I'll spell it out for you at the end, but I don't want to spoil it for now. On April 2nd at 12:55 a.m., DPR would write back and say, "Excellent work. Please send any info you can get on this third party along with the picture. The picture can be uploaded here. I have no need for any of his possessions, so you can do whatever you want with that stuff. Thank you again for your assistance, DPR." April 2nd, 2013 at 12:59 p.m. The response from Red and White would read the following. "Okay, my guys are here now, and here's the information they extracted from Friendly Chemist before the deed. They were working with a guy, real name Andrew Losry of Surrey. Apparently this is the guy that turned them on to frauding people on here. He said that he started selling on Silk Road a couple years ago, and since then he's made a career out of making new seller profiles to sell and then rip people off. He told them how to start on here and how to rip people off and asked for a percentage in return. He said that he showed them everything about how to sell and how to pull it off and all that stuff. He didn't remember all the account names he uses or used, and then said that Tony76 and Canuck were two of his names that he
Nipple suck Canuck. Dude, what the fuck? Yeah, okay. So the FBI intercepted one of these fucking sellers and they threatened him, and then this got to be the FBI, right? Like
used on other seller accounts for people he set up or is running himself. I also went and looked at all the possessions they seized from him. The laptops were empty besides Tor and a couple other programs. The USB sticks he had were packed full of text files and thousands of addresses from all around the world. We destroyed everything we seized from him, but I kept a text file that was named blackmail.txt that had a ton of addresses in it and other text files. Since you mentioned that he was trying to blackmail you with all that information, I kept that text file in case you needed it. If you don't need it, then let me know and I'll destroy it. I also have the picture with me. A question before I send it to you though. I'm not extremely good with all this anonymity computer operations, but I know pictures store GPS information and the likes that the police can use as evidence. Is it safe to send it over here like that? We took care of him at one of our safe houses, so that worries me a little. I trust your judgment, so I was wondering if there was a way to delete GPS information
blackmail.txt, dude.
From a picture before I send it over the internet. Another quick question regarding Bitcoin. How do we withdraw them? I paid the hitters with my own money until I figured out how the Bitcoins worked exactly. As I understand it, Mt. Gox is the main exchange. Is it safe to make an account there to withdraw? Can they link it back to the Silk Road? They require verification, which bothers me a little, so I figured you would know the best way. On April 2nd at 8:55.
Okay, that actually does seem like a bunch of fucking... That does seem like some boomer-ass Hells Angels. Never mind, dude.
PM, DPR would respond and say, "Yes, you can destroy the info. Thanks for taking a look first. Regarding image metadata, you can strip all of that out and it is good practice. The upload page is secure, but I would still have access to that metadata. Of course you can trust me, but what if I was compromised? A decent one can be found for Windows here. Regarding Bitcoin withdrawal, I would avoid Mt. Gox if at all possible, especially if you're withdrawing to a USA account. There are many other exchanges that don't have so much attention on them. You can find them here. I am reluctant to give you a specific recommendation, but look for ones offshore on that list that will do an international wire transfer for a direct Bitcoin payment. Tony76 and Canuck were both blights on an otherwise great track record. What do you think about going after Andrew Losry? This guy has probably ripped off millions of dollars at this point from me and the rest of the Silk Road community. Here we see
Bro, this guy is bloodthirsty, dude. He's just like, I've done a murder that I know of. So now it's like Pringles, dude. Once you pop, you can't stop. He's just like literally like, listen, FBI man, my thirst, my appetite is insatiable, okay? I have an unquenchable thirst for murder. Ugh.
The Dread Pirate Roberts wants to take out anyone who's wronged him at this point. At this point, it's not even in self-preservation. He's just trying to grow the Silk Road and build an empire. On April 5th, 2013 at 4:40 a.m., Red and White would write the following. I've sent the file. I had to make sure I did the information removal properly before I sent it, so that I did not send GPS information with the picture in case it was intercepted somehow. Please delete the picture as soon as you take a look at it. As for the name, it's Andrew Losry, aka Tony76, aka Canuck, aka some other names I don't know. From what I got from Friendly Chemist, he has other names on here as well, or is working with other vendors on here like I mentioned before. As far as your question for going after him, I would need to do some asking around to see what kind of information my guys can get on him. Would you like me to look into it?
I like that the narrator, barely sociable, does not want to say nipple suck. Like he's just casually going over the details of like a dude who was facilitating multiple hits, but like nipple suck is a step too far for him. You know what I mean?
A few hours later, DPR would respond and say, yes, please. If you can find him, I would like to know. As far as the picture that's being uploaded, if it's not crystal clear already, that's the picture of Friendly Chemist's body. So let's move on.
Oh! Wait.
At 10:22 a.m., Red and White would respond and say, did you get...
Wait, but that's not real. The FBI killed him? No shot.
the picture? Let me know so I can delete the rest of the ones I have. Finding him would be possible. I can almost guarantee it. But I stop short of guaranteeing anything unless I'm 100% certain I can get the job done. I don't do that so I don't look like an idiot if I can't accomplish something that I said I can. We have a huge stake in the trafficking on this side of the country, so if he's grabbing product from anyone, we would be able to find out who and get to him. Would you want him dealt with if possible? I ask because I don't want to send people to hunt for him and then nothing come of it once they find him. Also, please don't forget to delete that picture. I've received the picture and deleted it. Thank you again for your swift action. I would like to go after Andrew, though it is important to me that we make sure he is who Blake said he is. I would rather miss a chance to take him out than hit an innocent person. If he's our man, then he likely has substantial assets to be recovered. Perhaps we can hold him and question him. I'd like to connect with you on real-time chat to discuss this further with you. It requires downloading the chat client, Pigeon, and the plugin Off the Record, and some basic configuration to connect. If you're open to this idea, I'll send you instructions. This is how I communicate with my closest people. If not, we can keep communicating here, but it's much slower. April 5th, 9:48 p.m. Red and White writes, "It was my pleasure. I hate thieves almost as much as I hate informants." About holding in question.
Dude. Oh, God. I hate thieves. And I hate informants. Yo. I'm with it.
Questioning someone, it adds to the risk the longer we have to hold/transport a target. The safest way to do it is get in, do it, and get out as soon as possible. As far as there being a way to verify that
I love doing drugs with my friends in the Hells Angels, dude.
he is the intended target, making him speak would not be a problem, and of course we would not have him done if he was not the right person we were looking for. Since you said you'd like to go after him, I will send 2 of my guys to do some recon right now and find out what I can about him, and get back to you immediately. We can discuss the price later once we know more. As for the real-time chat, send the information over and I'll have my tech guy look at it. He handles all my security with phones and PGP, BlackBerry.
I think either this is the FBI, or it's going to come out that like Red and White was literally the same guy as the other 2 guys. And they've just been like feeding him fake feeding him like fake hits and shit like that. You know what I mean? As for the real-time chat and the information over, have my tech guy look at it. Oh my God, they have a tech guy.
So he would probably know better than me how to set everything up. On April 6th at 12:57 a.m., DPR would write to Red and White and say, "My gut tells me he's our man, but I'd hate to be wrong. Your men were able to get info from Blake, but maybe they can do the same thing with Andrew. He's likely sitting on many thousands of stolen bitcoins, perhaps tens of thousands. So I'd like to think we'd want to work him over to get those funds back. They could be on an encrypted drive only he can unlock. Taking him out would erase the coins forever. In the process of getting him to return the funds, I hope we could confirm that he is indeed the one Blake says he is. Here are the instructions for accessing the chat server from a Windows computer." Attached in this message is just the...
Damn, look at these fucking nerds, dude. They're not even using Linux, dude. They're not Red Hats, boys. That's what we know.
Instructions. I'm going to go over the domain name and the actual account later on. On April 6, 12:20 p.m., Red and White would finally get back to DPR and say,
"You don't even know what Linux is, LMAO? Shut up, dude. I sound cool as fuck when I say that, though. Fucking script kiddies, dude."
Found out who Andrew is exactly and who he was packing up his supply from. I also talked to a supplier and he said he mainly grabbed a lot of things that would get this video demonetized. He said he always goes through phases where he grabs a ton of product and then stops for a couple of weeks and then starts again. Sounds consistent with what Friendly Chemist said about how they run the stealing from buyers on here. He said he last heard from Andrew a couple days ago. He said he was planning on moving out of the province because things were too hot down here. That might be because he found out about Zin and Friendly Chemist and now he's scared. I also had a chance to actually sit down and talk to my hitters about exactly what happened and how everything went down in detail. They said that Friendly Chemist was pleading with them and offering to give up Andrew, and that Andrew was a seller here by the name of Tony and a bunch of other names, amongst others. He said that when he first turned them on to the idea of doing this big scheme, that he would often talk about how he stole so much money, and that he once stole 15,000 online currency coins from one person on the site, and how easy stealing money was on here.
What's a fucking currency coin?
Does that ring a bell? Did he steal 1,500 bitcoins from a buyer here? That would be an easy way to find out if this Andrew person is the same person you think it is. Do you have his transaction history to see if he actually did steal 15k bitcoins from someone? I trust my hitters to do a good job, and they are excellent at what they do, which is take people out or interrogate/scare people, and they told me they didn't think he was lying. The info I have on him right now is that he works and lives with 3 other people, and they all sell product. He is in contact with his supplier, who actually through a line of middlemen gets his product from us at the end of the food chain.
Bro, this guy is like all over the place, dude. Like, what the fuck? How is this other dude who runs this fucking website still not sussed out by this? At this point, you deserve to go to jail, dog. Like, seriously. I mean, at most points, you deserve to go to jail, but like what are you doing?
Do you want to deal with this Andrew guy, or do you want me to put the team on standby? At 8:37 p.m. that same night, DPR would write back and say, I'm confident enough that it is him to move forward. Can we round up all 4 of them, separate them, and get them to out each other by giving up their stolen money? Recovering the funds is going to be tricky if you aren't in direct contact with your team, or if your team doesn't know how bitcoins work. If you have the other usernames Friendly Chemist mentioned, that will help me piece together things on my end. Regarding chat, there should be a certificate to accept. When it connects, does that show up? A couple hours later, Red and White gets back and says, it won't even connect, it's just stuck on connecting, and I copy and paste all the information for the login and password, etc., so it should be good. I also checked Tor to see what port to use. Won't connect for some reason. Do I have to fill in any more of the details? Local alias or anything like that? As for getting all 4 of them, it would be possible, but we would have to get them all at once so no one gets away. I would send 4 hitters instead of 2 to make sure there was no fuck-ups. I'm not sure on when they are planning on leaving the province though. The guy that has been feeding me information on him says the guy's a degenerate gambler, so I don't know how much of the funds he will have on hand. He says he owes a ton of people money too. My guess is that he's been pulling the scams to fuel his gambling problem like a degenerate. It would make sense why he's teaching other people how to scam as well, since it has been too profitable for him to keep it.
Dude, Hell's Angels guy, but doesn't gamble, and he says he's a degenerate gambler. Yo, those fucking gamblers, man, they're such degens.
To himself. Probably because he owes some money and then he offers them to show him how to do it as a way of paying back. I will have them take whatever they have on hand, but I don't want to pay my hitters to be hanging around with them for too long since they're doing 4 people. Unfortunately, there are no bulk discounts for jobs like this. Usually the price goes up the more difficult it is. Since you're easy to work with, I would be able to offer you the same rate as last time, times 4 if that works for you. Let me know. If it doesn't, please also let me know as soon as you can so I can call my guys off. They've been doing info gathering this whole time on Andrew and his whole crew.
Why would the guys work for free? Originally, the guy was going to work for 300K. Then he did a fucking rush job for 150K. Now he's doing a 4-person hit, like for 150 a pop. And they're still already like literally doing free recon. None of his story makes sense. How the fuck is this guy literally not suspicious? What a fucking idiot, dude.
DPR would later write back and say, okay, let's just hit Andrew and leave it at that. Try to recover the funds, but if not, then not. How much do you need for this? On April 8th, 7:11 a.m., Red and White would get back and...
He sent the picture? It doesn't matter. Like, wasn't there any news articles about this fucking guy once you know what his name is? Like, you can't look at like regional news articles or coverage like that, like obituaries or some shit. How do you not fucking verify that?
Respond and say, If you want to hit Andrew only, I can have it done for 150 just like last time. We wouldn't be able to do it at their place though, because there's always at least a few of them there, from what I'm told, since it's their home/office. So we wouldn't be able to recover any of his things. It's up to you what you want done, but we can send hitters into their home/office if they're only doing one of them.
He's like way too invested in doing this hit for him when originally he was apprehensive. And if he's like literally doing operations for a fucking cartel that makes $1 million a fucking week, if he's the main guy or like one of the people that's like literally the main connection for Silk Road, and this is going to be like their big entry point into using Silk Road and being like a main distributor on there, why in the ever-loving fuck would they just be like, yeah, let's keep doing more hits for you? Like, you know what I mean?
Do you not need the people he is working with dealt with also? If they're working with him, it means they're doing the same thing as him. It would also be easier for the hitters to get to them in there.
Yeah, I'm saying they would be making $1 million a week plus selling drugs online on Silk Road. That's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of product. That's serious shit. I feel like a serious organized criminal organization is not going to fucking deal with like the weird, pasty, neurotic Andy who like runs the website like this and like going off their fucking whims and going back and forth on like what kind of crimes that they're gonna do together and shit like that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's wild.
So that they have a chance of recovering anything if he has anything there. It would also be better because it wouldn't be a public hit. If we just take Andrew, there's nothing to say that the other three wouldn't start up somewhere else with a new selling ID. It is of course up to you what you want done and how, since you're the client. I was pretty certain you would want them all taken care of, so I had an associate send me a couple of his out-of-town hitters to accompany our local hitters. It is not a problem as I can just send them back and cover their travel expenses.
And for the record, for the chatters who are saying, drug cartels are bloodthirsty, he literally started off by saying, hits like this bring unnecessary attention to us. And they're correct. Every murder that you do literally brings more attention to that murderer plus the organization itself. So why the fuck would you like risk it like this and also like rush to like literally push doing more of this?
But I obviously would like for them to not go back empty-handed. My mistake for not confirming what you wanted before I had the extra hitters sent down, but it's not really a problem if you don't want the others dealt with. I had a hard time connecting to the Silk Road for the last 24 hours, or I would have asked before having them sent down. So if you'd like to do the others as well, I would be able to have it done for 500k. If you do not want all of them and just want Andrew, it would be 150k. I would prefer to do all four, as it would be better than having to get Andrew somewhere else and have no chance of recovering any potential product/money that he may have. If you are certain he has that much product/money, I think it would make sense to do it at their home/office. It's up to you though. Just let me know what to do as soon as you can, since I do not know when they are leaving the province, and if they do leave the province, the price would go up exponentially. If you would just like to get Andrew done, send 150k to the same address you sent the other funds to. If you'd like all four of them done and the product/money recovered from there, send 500k USD to the same address you sent the other funds to. In the morning, I will check the Bitcoin wallet first thing, and I will know what you want me to do based on how much you sent, and I will have it done as soon as possible. Speak to you soon. At 6:50 p.m. on April 8th, DPR would write back and say, okay, I'll defer to your better judgment and hope we can recover some assets from them. 500k in BTC or 3,000 Bitcoin at $166 a Bitcoin has been sent to your address, and here is the transaction number. Once again, we can check this transaction number, and it was in fact sent from the Silk Road. On April 11th, 2013, 10:49
Dude, good thing Bitcoin is really hard to track.
p.m., Red and White would finally get back and say, our hitters have been watching their house and we have a 1-week window to do it, but I wanted to ask you a couple questions before giving them the green light. The price of Bitcoins is trading at $61 right now. How is this going to work? Because you mentioned that you would take care of price fluctuations. We haven't withdrawn any of the Bitcoins. DPR would later write back and say, regarding the 3k coins I sent, get the best price you can for them and let me know if you are short, and I'll send you more to cover it. Regarding chat, I made a mistake. You should add me at dread at this onion link. Now, this was the exact same handle that Ross was caught logged into his chat service when the FBI caught him, so keep that in mind. To summarize the last bit of messages, long story short, the hit goes through, they don't really recover much money, and then Ross sends an extra 2,500 bitcoins to make up for the price.
Money well spent. It's $120 million
Now,
for
let's do
fucking...
a final analysis on these messages. As interesting as these messages are to read, there's something I haven't told you. What we just read through is exactly how someone went about scamming 7,225 Bitcoin off Dread Pirate Roberts. At the time that this Bitcoin was sent, it was actually worth about $1 million, give or take. But today, it's worth over $60 million. All of these hits were paid for, but Blake, Kirchhoff, Zinn, Andrew, and all the people involved with these hits aren't actually real people. Because there's absolutely no proof of any of these guys ever going missing or ever existing in the first place. It took a while for Ross's investigation to pick up on this, but this is in fact what happened, and even in the court documents they say he got
Motherfucker's gonna be like, dude, I need more, I need someone to kill that guy now.
With an elaborate scam. Keep in mind though, that in DPR's mind, these people were 100% real, and he was completely willing to pay to have people taken out. We're gonna talk about Ross's trial in a bit, but up until 2018, nobody knew who Red and White was. Here's the reality though. DPR got played by one person, and that one person is alleged to be James Ellingson. In a later investigation, Bitcoin was traced from Red and White's accounts on the Silk Road to another seller on the Silk Road named Mary Jane is my muse, and both of them were registered on a Canadian Bitcoin exchange that had James's driver's license on it. As a result, James trying to cash out ultimately ended up getting him caught. He's currently out on bail and waiting trial. Since Tony76 is likely Lucy Drop, this makes this guy one of the most prolific scammers on the Silk Road. It appears that James initially sought out to blackmail Ross's friendly chemist with $500,000, but ended up thinking quick on his feet and ended up getting double the amount. As cool as it is to see someone get worked over like this, heaven forbid Ross Ulbricht actually got his hands on a real hitman. To this day, a lot of people still deny the fact that Ross actually ordered these hits and they believe it's completely fake, and I'm going to be debunking that later on in this video. But for now, let's get into the trial.
Fucking got him, dude. What a... Oh my god, that is an L nerd right there, dude.
Now let's take a step back and look at the trial and conviction of Ross Ulbricht.
No, it wasn't the FBI. It was one guy who facilitated everything, including the fucking random Hells Angels. A guy who was like, I am the Hells Angels.
Keep in mind, my goal here is to cover this in a somewhat objective manner because both parties involved seem to be potentially stretching the truth. Ross pleaded not guilty despite being caught red-handed logged into the website, so it made me really curious as to what his defense actually was in this case. I went through countless pages on this actual court case, and what they planned on using as a legal defense, I honestly don't know how they ever expected to win. I'm paraphrasing here, but Ross's legal defense went with the story that Ross created the Silk Road not to make money, but as a social experiment. Then they claimed at some point Ross sold the website in 2011, and thereafter he bought it back just in time to get caught red-handed, where supposedly someone basically airdropped the diary onto his computer to frame him. This defense never provided any physical evidence of Ross actually selling or buying back the website.
Wow.
But they still went with the story. Remember what I said about Dread Pirate Roberts being a very clever name, and it was actually given to him by his mentor, Variety Jones, someone who helped out Ross very closely. He actually suggested the name Dread Pirate Roberts if he ever got caught, so that way he could say he was just a fall guy. Variety Jones also taught Ross a wide variety of other things. He was basically just his right-hand man.
Not enough, though. Variety Jones did not teach him how to not get fucking scammed.
The defense essentially claimed that...
Bro, I love that his argument literally was the YouTuber apology for, like, sexual assault. Like, it's fucking foolproof, dude. Just say it was a social experiment. In parentheses, gone wrong.
The Dread Pirate Roberts forum account was shared by multiple people, which I find very hard to believe, but more on that later. This was to explain away the messages we read regarding the hits, as the defense claimed they weren't sent by Ross, but some other Dread Pirate Roberts that they never actually named. On top of that, the defense argued that the real Dread Pirate Roberts couldn't be Ross, because DPR was a criminal mastermind. However, one thing I will say is that the Dread Pirate Roberts in those chat logs is not a criminal mastermind because he got scammed for almost $1 million. If anything.
Yeah, dude. How the fuck did this guy build this like intricate dark web website and then like got owned over and over again by one fucking guy to the tune of $1 million, which is now more than like 70. It's like $120 million now.
That guy's pretty naive.
Fucking STEM lords, dude. Literally, listen, STEM lords. Some of you motherfuckers think you know everything because you learned math, okay? Instead of any of the, dumb stuff that you don't care about. But like, this is why you get duped so regularly on the internet by dipshits like Jordan Peterson or Steve Crowder, who also is a fucking liberal arts major, by the way. Like anyone, this is why you get duped so regularly, because you have no intuition when it comes to like people fucking you over, and you have this like notion that you think you know everything because you've like figured out hard sciences that are incredibly difficult to learn and understand. You thought it was the FBI the entire time? I mean, I also suspected that it was probably the same person that literally was facilitating this entire fucking process. But yes, hitmen on the internet would be the FBI. That's a number. That would be my first inclination. Also, the FBI did actually facilitate a hit for him, so I'm not even wrong on that. So
the amount of assumptions you'd have to make to believe this story is honestly insane. But I will say lawyers have a good way of getting out of things, so I'm not surprised. On the other side of things, where I believe the government is potentially shifting the narrative.
You thought the Hells Angels were woke by saying partner? Okay, that was really dumb. That was a himbo move for me, okay?
Is how they actually tracked down the Silk Road website. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that in 2012, the FBI managed to infiltrate where the Silk Road website was hosted in Iceland. Part of tracking down Ross and catching him red-handed was getting access to the back end of the site, because that way they could use it to find when Ross was actually logged in. If the government used some form of illegal spying tactic, then this would have potentially infringed on Ross's Fourth Amendment right and could have—
Oh man, the government would never do illegal spying on people, you know? There was nothing else that happened in 2013 that kind of showed that the government was doing illegal spying practices.
Could have easily nullified some of the charges against him. It is speculated that the NSA had some involvement with their method, but to this day, the government claims they used a legal method. I should also note that there were 2 agents that were caught stealing Bitcoin that were both involved with this investigation. These people were Sean Bridges and Carl Force. Both went to jail for quite a while and the money was recovered. As far as their role in anything else in this case, I would say that's not very substantial, despite what the defense argued. These 2 instances of corrupt individuals were not actually allowed to be involved with Ross's case, however, they were both later tried separately. Something to consider about this case is that it was setting a precedent for any future darknet market.
Bro, why do you guys keep fucking burping in our ears? That's so fucking nasty. You mean tasty. You mean tasty.
Marketplaces. Ross's legal team should have expected that the government would try and make an example of them and set precedent. So in my opinion, fighting this case was probably a bad idea.
I don't understand. Why does everybody clap when XQC farts? But when I burp, which is like, I think, less offensive than a fart, you lose your shit. Society claps when XQC farts and then slams. But when I fart with my mouth, everybody complains. Because his audience is half the age of yours? Okay, well, I would like to have fun as well, okay?
To prove my point, Ross received a double life sentence plus 40 years without the possibility for parole, which definitely seems excessive and almost like a slap in the face to the legal team defending him. FreeRoss.org claims that he wasn't given a plea deal, but if you actually read what they have to say, it seems to contradict that. I'm reading this word for word off their website, and it says, Ross was arrested on nonviolent conspiracy charges that carried 10 years to life. The prosecutor told him that if he didn't plead guilty, they would add the kingpin charge, which would raise the mandatory minimum to 20 years.
Oh no, dude. He has 2x the viewers? First of all, bitch, I got 50,000 people in here, okay? Chill the fuck out. Secondly, that means he has 2 times the people that would yell at him. So that's not actually an argument. Dude, excuse me. Juicers are the funniest, dude. The moment I say anything about Felix, juicers will fucking go full defense mode, not realizing that they're straight up behaving exactly like K-pop stans. Look, look, look. There's people in here like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I want to see. Yeah, he has 2 times the viewers and 0 times the electricity. Dude, I feel bad. When I say this, there'll always be people like, fuck you! X got the clout. He's streaming right now. I didn't even know he had a fucking second.
I'm not saying Ross wouldn't have gotten life in prison either way, but
account.
this logic seems to contradict itself. Ross was convicted of
You compare them to K-pop stans, they're back in hiding.
computer hacking, conspiracy to traffic narcotics, and money laundering. At first, the government had also attempted to hit him with a murder for hire charge. I will say there is definitely substantial evidence to say that Dread Pirate Roberts paid for hits. Considering the chat logs included well-known vendors, it had redacted customer information, and Bitcoin transactions that are impossible to tamper with. The fact that these hits were all a part of an incredibly elaborate scam and that the people he had ordered hits on never existed makes it a hell of a lot harder to convince a jury. There's not really much legal precedent on ordering a hit on a person that was never alive. You could argue that including this charge weakens the prosecution's case overall. Keep in mind, they didn't even know the real identity of Red and White until 2018. If you don't know who the hitman was and you don't know who the victims were, it's very hard to convict someone. If you take a look at how punishments are weighed, particularly in the charge of conspiracy to traffic narcotics, it is, to a certain extent, based on the quantity of substances moved, and seeing as Ross's site moved $1.2 billion worth of substance, this charge alone was enough to put him away for a very long time. It definitely seems like they never needed the murder for hire charges to begin with, and the fact that they included them does seem like they could have used it to smear him in the media and push this court case through quickly, I will say. So all in all, let me summarize. Do I think Ross got a perfectly fair trial? No. Do I think Ross got an over-the-top punishment? Yes. But do I think Ross was perfectly innocent? No, and this leads me to the next.
They fucking piled on him, dude. They fucking literally pile drived him. So what I don't understand is like
video.
The FBI had more involvement in this case than. Wait, is this over?
When I first started researching this topic, I wanted to fully defend Ross and point out the injustice of his sentencing, but there's a ton of misinformation floating around. I initially heard about this from the Deep Web documentary and the free.
I'm sorry, boys, but if you think you're ordering hits on 3 fucking separate people, then like, thank God you got intercepted and didn't actually like talk to a real hitman. Like it's a conspiracy to fucking murder. You know what I mean? Like you deserve to go to jail for that. Just like Dalia DiPolito deserved to go to jail for that as well. It's not even 3 in the last time, but it's like, what is it, 6 total?
Ross.org side of things, but the more I looked into this topic, the more I realized that this organization is in straight up denial of what Ross actually did.
I mean, he literally was just ordering hits like fucking ordering chips, dude.
That he saw this through, that he was responsible for more than kind of the creation of Silk Road.
Correct.
Not for a minute.
They say they've traced lots of money back to Ross. What do you think Ross's role was?
I have no idea. I'd like to see the evidence.
Bought and sold. I mean, what do you think should be a punishment for him, if any?
We would like to see Ross acquitted on all charges.
To clarify, I personally don't have much.
Oh, fuck, dude. I mean, look, that's the parents. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit of a, that's a little over the top there, you know? We would like to see our son, who ordered 6 fucking hits off the internet, to be acquitted of all charges. That's crazy.
Much of a problem with Ross creating something like the Silk Road. Just because the Silk Road went down, it will never stop other marketplaces from popping up and doing the exact same thing until some laws change. If there's something we've learned from Prohibition, supply will always meet demand. Where I personally draw the line with all of this, however, is when Dread Pirate Roberts attempted violence. In Ross's mind, the people he was ordering hits on were absolutely real people, and when he received those photos to confirm what he had done from Red and White, he still continued to do it. It was literally only a matter of time before the guy got his hands on a real hitman, and he would have had an unlimited supply of money to potentially take out anyone he wanted. To this day, some people say because Ross...
Why does your friend need a fake ID? To vote illegally, of course. Why would people need fake IDs in the United States of America? Just like think about it. Just literally think about it for, I don't know, more than 3 seconds. Why would American teenagers need fake identification? Do you think it's the drive around? Do you think it's the vote? Is that something that teenagers are interested in doing, you think? Do you think it's the, yeah, register for the armed forces? I don't know. Alcoholic beverages, my friend.
Ross Ulbricht was never charged with violence, therefore he could have never been violent. This is a logical fallacy. By that same logic, you could say that O.J. Simpson is innocent. Ever since this trial, Ross's parents have been campaigning for him to be released from prison, and I honestly think they are right to do so. But where I have a problem is when you mislead people to further your agenda. It's a hell of a lot harder to convince people to sign a petition if the person you're advocating for was potentially violent. So let's go through some of FreeRoss.org's claims.
Damn, this guy was like, I wanted to do a report on how much this guy was innocent, and then he literally turned around and let you know that it's top of the hour, so there's a 60-second ad break. That's crazy that he is literally doing that right now. Okay. And of course, there is a way to avoid said ads at the top of the fucking hour, boys. I mean, there is a way to avoid those ads. You can subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, and that way you will no longer see the fucking ads. Okay? Or you can use a VPN or an ad block. Fucking early tomatoes annoy me because, like, you're just cucking content there. But hey, whatever. Anyway, what I was going to say is, fuck you, I'm an Aiden Ross viewer now. That's who the people in the hood watch. The hood's watching Aiden Ross now. What was I saying? Fuck, dude. I literally forgot what I was going to say. I wasn't actually going to do a segue. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, he was going to defend him and then instead turned around and did a 1-hour dissertation on why he's like super guilty.
A perfect example I'd like to start with comes from the common misconception page of the FreeRoss.org website. Here they claim that Ross Ulbricht didn't create the Silk Road for financial gain. This is honestly laughable because it takes 2 seconds to realize that's not true. Prior to creating the Silk Road, Ross had multiple business attempts that completely failed. Ross had also applied for multiple citizenships prior to getting caught. If you're applying for a citizenship in the Dominican Republic, you're probably trying to launder money out of the country. FreeRoss.org claims that because Ross lived frugally, he wasn't in it for the money. But the moment you bring more than $10,000 cash to any bank, they're going to start asking you a lot of questions. On top of that, if you look through his Altoid account post history, the guy's obsessed with money, and he even says how he's not a millionaire yet. Nobody starts a dark net marketplace just for the sport of it. On FreeRoss.org, they claim that the purpose of the site was not to sell illegal substances, but to be a free market economic experiment where people could basically buy whatever they want. But then they go on to have a list of rules of items that they're not allowed to sell. They claim that some of the reason of these rules is so that other people wouldn't harm or defraud others. But if that were true, why did Ross Ulbricht buy 9 fake IDs off of his own website? These are just a couple of examples of easy bits to disprove, but I'd like to focus on something much more substantial, and it's the FreeRoss.org's claim that there was multiple Dread Pirate Roberts on the same forum account. In this situation, I'd like to go through their supposed evidence and show how it can pretty much be disproven. The first piece of evidence that the organization claims for
literally all he needed to do, I mean, this is hindsight, which is 2020, obviously, but literally all he needed to do was like hold on to his Bitcoin and he would have been fucking fine. You know what I mean? Like, he would have been a billionaire if he held on to his Bitcoin, dude. And by that point, he would have been a multi-billionaire because he probably would have had significantly more Bitcoin off of just like maintaining Silk Road. When I think about it, like, if he simply didn't try to do murders, it was a frame. You think he didn't know that this was a smear? I mean, he definitely got cucked for sure. But like, why is he so horny to fucking do murders on people? If he didn't respond to DMs, he'd be a billionaire. Yeah, I mean, literally multi-billionaire. They would have taken down Silk Road regardless, but I think it would have been harder to seize his assets. You know what I mean?
The existence of multiple Dread Pirate Roberts comes from the fact that Ross couldn't have created the website by himself. This is true, but doesn't prove the point the court was looking for. Ross hired people to work for him and his staff was on payroll. All of them had their own separate forum account. Ross knew none of his admin.
I bet those motherfuckers are billionaires now, or 100 millionaires.
So it makes absolutely no sense that Ross would share the same account at any given point in time. Ross was a bright guy, and he also asked multiple questions under the handle Frosty when it came to initially setting up the site. Regardless,
that's like one of those moderators is the guy with the fucking Bitcoin wallet that he doesn't have access to anymore. You know what I mean? That has like $1 gazillion in it. And he's just like, I can't access it. I forgot my fucking password.
This doesn't support the claim that there were multiple Dread Pirate Roberts acting under one forum account over a different period of time. The next piece of evidence that they list is that Ross told his friend that he sold the website in 2011. I believe this to be true, but if you take a look at the court documents and see the context, then you'll see how this is actually the twisting of the truth. It appears that Ross's friend told someone a little bit too much about Ross's involvement with the Silk Road. That person later commented on his Facebook wall, and Ross's friend was concerned and urged him to shut down the site. As a result, I believe Ross consoled his friend by saying, "I can't because I already sold it to someone." I believe this was to get his friend to stop worrying about him. There's absolutely no physical evidence to suggest a transaction involving the site. If this were true, Ross wouldn't have continued to operate the site up until 2013. And it would have been as simple as providing a Bitcoin transaction to prove the sale went through. There's absolutely no other way that this guy could have accepted payment other than Bitcoin. Here it makes absolutely no sense that Ross would have to rely on his friend's testimony instead of just providing evidence. Moving on, the next piece of evidence from this website states that someone logged into the Dread Pirate Roberts forum account after Ross was taken into custody. Once again, this is twisting the truth. By the time Ross was arrested, the feds had access to the back end of the website and the investigation was still ongoing. The fact that we have access to those messages we read over time shows that the FBI directly had access to Ross's account as well. There is no doubt in my mind that the person who logged into Ross's account after he was in custody was a federal agent. Once again, it makes absolutely no sense that Ross would ever share an account. Next up, in terms of their false evidence, is the claim that Dread Pirate Roberts failed a digital handshake. A handshake.
The thing is, like, every time shit like this happens, like that other libertarian guy who got caught with like child porn and shit, every libertarian on the internet says the feds framed him, right? But also at the same time, he's a libertarian, so it's not that hard to believe, you know what I mean? The fucking, which one? Right, yeah. The guy who like 3D printed, or the guy who wanted to mass distribute the 3D printed schematics of AR-15s. You know what I'm talking about? What was his name? I forget. He was like a... I was saying the feds were framing him. It's like hard to figure out because it's like hard to parse through because like half the time, like do feds do like honeypotting and shit? Absolutely. Okay. Would feds frame someone like that? Absolutely. But also he's a fucking libertarian.